Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Courtney Neubauer, and today is June 7th, and this is our Nutrition Support Monthly Call for the month of June. As I was working through the agenda for today's training, I thought for sure that I would have a short agenda because we are in summer and everything seems to be a little bit slower in the summer months, but that proved not to be true. So we have a full agenda today of all kinds of really exciting updates and reminders of what's to come in the next few weeks and months. So to start, we'll just briefly mention pandemic EBT or PEBT, and also a little teaser of some additional funding that may be coming through the local level funding for PEBT. Bulletin 746, which is the ancillary certificate for CMP supervisors. The summer food service options. So we've had multiple trainings on the summer food service program and seamless summer option, but just including some reminders of ways to operate during summer feeding. I want to spend a good bit of time talking about the possible COVID instances, COVID-specific instance waivers. So there are some possible waivers that will be used in the next school year and summer, but the requirements around that are very, very different than what the previous requirements have been. So we're going to spend some time discussing that. I'm also going to mention again the transitional standards on milk, whole grains, and sodium as the school year officially begins July 1. So these standards will go into effect effective July 1. Also, some reminders about eScholar and CEP Manager. We are going to talk a good bit about the deadline for CEP of June 30th, which is coming up right around the corner. All the SFAs that have not submitted your CEP population data are about to give me a heart attack. So hopefully we can start getting all of those in the next few weeks. Training updates. We have some great trainings coming in June that I'm really excited about. And then also just some other program reminders. So to start, pandemic EBT and local level funding. We know that the pandemic EBT benefits have been going out for some time. DCFS has updated their frequently asked questions, and those are meant to better answer questions that have been received from districts and parents regarding PEBT. DCFS has also now created a new step-by-step video for the PEBT parent portal, and this hopefully will help explain how to access the portal and then to help alleviate some of the questions that may be coming from parents regarding access. Some additional resources and contacts, the PEBT website. Also the contacts, the support response, so dcfs.pebtsupport@la.gov. This is the support response for school districts to access. This is not the support response that should be provided out to parents. Additionally, the DCFS help desk for parents, the phone numbers are listed here, and there is a specific EBT card center that can also provide assistance. Office hours will still be held on each Tuesday at 10 a.m. We are gearing up into the summer months, and we know that there will be summer PEBT, and at this point, not sure if there will be PEBT benefits for the upcoming school year. So this is just my teaser of the PEBT local level funding. So if you remember correctly, last year you received some monies, some of it a very small amount depending on the size of the school system, and it was related to supporting the PEBT activities that were that happened in the prior school year. So we are expecting these monies again this year, and they will be to support the PEBT activities for the current school year and summer. The exact dollar amounts have not been provided out. We're still working on the spreadsheet for that, but just wanted to give you a heads up that that will be coming. It will probably not be issued to schools until September or later, but just wanted to give you an idea that that is something that is coming around. Okay, Bulletin 746. This is regarding the ancillary certificates for C&P supervisors. This is new information, so you have probably not received anything regarding this yet. So the plan was to kind of introduce it here. We will also issue a memo in the next few days, and we will also reach out to the directors as well to help guide you through this process. So Bulletin 746, which has been around long before my time with the Department of Education, was recently amended. It has always, 746 has always contained a requirement that school nutrition directors obtain a certificate from the Department of Education. That is something that, as this bulletin was looked at over the last couple of years, that requirement is still there, and some additions and revisions were made to align that certificate with the requirements of the federal professional standards. So it was amended to revise that section of the bulletin related to the ancillary school certificate for child nutrition programs. And it does require that individuals who are employed as child nutrition supervisors in Louisiana in a public school district that they don't already have the child nutrition ancillary certificate, that they are required to complete the certification application. The hiring standards are identical to the hiring standards for directors that are listed in federal regulations, and the certification is also renewable annually with the presentation of the 12 hours of continuing education as stated in the USDA professional standards. We will be posting a memo. I am also drafting an email to all of the child nutrition directors that currently have a certification already to let you know that you are one of the directors that does already have this certification. And then I'll also be drafting an email to the remaining directors on the process for obtaining that certification. Because the hiring standards and the annual requirements for professional standards align with the federal guidelines, there should be no issue with obtaining that certification. The application for certification and all of the continuing education requirements will be maintained by the certification division of the Department of Education. And the memo that we post will have very clear instructions on how to access the portal, how to get through applying or submitting your documentation for the certification. There isn't a timeline on when this needs to be done. So don't panic and think that you need to go out and make these changes ASAP. It's going to be a transitional process as we move to get every one of our directors, with this ancillary certification. But just know that there will be a memo posted in the next few days, and you should also receive an email directly from me. Once again, Courtney Neubauer, regarding this, and we will we'll work to make sure that we get all of our directors up to date with that certification. There are a fair number of public school directors who already have this certification. Some of them have had them for many, many years, and so those will not need to worry about this process. But I'll make sure that you all know which group you fit into. The next topic that we'll just briefly touch on is the summer meal service options. So summer is upon us. I would say that probably 95% of our schools are no longer in session right now, and we are into the summer months. June 6th Yesterday was kind of the start of many of our summer programs across the state. So for SFAs, if you want to host a summer meals program, there are two options. The first one is the seamless summer option, which is basically continuing what you did all school year. And the second option is the summer food service program. We have had multiple trainings on the seamless summer option and the summer food service training. Those are all available on Louisiana Fit Kids. They're also linked here as well. As a reminder, if you do operate the seamless summer option in the summer months, you can do that. And the majority of our SFAs, if not all of our SFAs, are currently approved and operating under that seamless summer option waiver through school year 21-22. And those waivers do remain in effect for seamless summer only through June 30th, 2022. So this includes those higher rates of reimbursement that match the summer food service program, and also the ability for non-congregate feeding options. But once again, this is only through June 30th for the seamless summer option only. As a reminder, the CACFP at-risk meals can only operate when school is in session. So since the majority of our schools are not in session, are now in summer, those programs should have ended. There's a few schools that still do have school session going on, and so they may be continuing their CACFP program. But once the school year ends and traditional summer begins, even if operating under that seamless summer option waiver, the CACFP at-risk meals cannot continue once school year ends. So as a reminder, all of USDA's waivers, the nationwide waivers, end on June 30th. At this time, USDA does not have any waiver authority past June 30th. So there's also no nationwide waivers for Summer Food Service 2022. There are specific waivers that have been approved for Louisiana for Summer Food Service Program, and that's the first week site review waiver, the meal service time restriction waiver, and offer versus serve waiver. If you want more information on all of those waivers, we did host a training on the SSO waiver process, as well as the summer waiver process on, they're all posted on Louisiana Fit Kids. The 2022 SFSP online application is open. We have a memo posted, memo SFS 22-X133, which has information about the application, some additional updates that have been made. Please work on getting those applications in if you are operating summer food service program. Also, now that we are in June, you should have most of your claims for May starting to be entered. As soon as you can get those claims entered and you need to make additional updates to the seamless summer option, you can go ahead and do so. We are working very diligently to get these applications approved. So please try to get them in timely and not wait until you're well into your summer operation. This next section, these are possible COVID-specific instance waivers. And so this is something different than we've seen with some of the other waivers thus far. So before I even start, I want to kind of caution everybody to not get overly excited about these waivers. They are meant to be used a little bit differently than what we've seen with the other waivers. So I don't want anybody to get this false sense of that these waivers will be able to be utilized across the board. But that I just want to let you know where we are with these and what we do have approved so far. So we do have some specific COVID waivers that have been approved by USDA for use in very specific instances related to COVID. And these are waivers that we saw in a similar way previously with the nationwide waivers. So waivers like the non-congregate meal service, parent guardian pickup, offer versus serve, and also meal times. These are not nationwide waivers, so the intent is very different than what we saw with the nationwide waivers. So these will not be approved. There will be no blanket approvals for the entire school year. The approval will be very, very specific to specific instances related to COVID. So these are only to be granted in situations when congregate feeding is limited. So these need to be thought of as a safety net. So something that we're kind of keeping in our back pocket should we start to see COVID cases spike over the summer months or into the beginning of the school year. So when I think about these waivers, I like to think about the beginning of last school year. I remember in July and even early August, everybody was intending school to be business as usual. So COVID was gone, business as usual. Everybody was coming back in session. The kids were going to be there full time. We were planning in-person reviews. And so we really, had this direction that we were intending to go on for this past school year, for school year 21-22. And then in early August, we saw this big spike of COVID numbers. And it was kind of this panic. Schools were saying, okay, well, maybe we don't need to go back full time. Maybe we need to look at some other option, or there were closures related to COVID because there was a high incidence of COVID positive cases in a particular school or particular classroom. And so in those type of instances, these waivers would be something that could be utilized. So we're going to really hold on to them and keep them in the back pocket for if there is a situation that arises, but they will not be able to be utilized as freely as we saw the nationwide waivers in the prior 2 school years. So criteria will be based on very specific criteria related to COVID instances. And they will be approved for a very short duration of time. So, if there is a closure for a specified period of time, whether it be 2 days or 5 days or something, those waivers would be approved for that period of time. But we're looking to these really to be utilized in very, very specific cases related to true instances that have caused a closure due to COVID in a particular area or a particular school. So these waivers are divided into the different programs. So the first group of waivers are related to the summer food service program and seamless summer option. So the first waiver is the non-congregate meal service during summer 2022, and this waives the requirements to serve meals in a congregate setting. Also, the parent guardian pickup during summer 2022. This waives the requirements that meals may only be served directly to students or to children. These are effective through September 30th, but they are only to be implemented in situations when congregate meal service is limited by COVID-19. This has been really very clear from USDA on the use of these waivers. So we are really going to be very, very careful about approving these types of waiver requests moving forward. The next group of waivers are specific to the National School Lunch School Breakfast Program. These waivers are very similar to the ones we just saw on the previous slide, but these are related specifically to the National School Lunch School Breakfast Program. It's the non-congregate meal service, which waives the requirement that meals must be served in a congregate setting. The parent guardian pickup, which waives the requirements that meals may only be served directly to children. Meal service time flexibility. So this waives the requirements that set mealtime parameters for school lunch and school breakfast. Offer versus serve. So this waives the requirement to serve school lunches to high school students using offer versus serve. So we know that high school students, you are required to have offer versus serve as an option or to be utilized when serving lunch only. So this waiver waives that requirement, so allows for offer versus serve to be an optional model in all ages for breakfast and lunch. These waivers are effective through June 30th, 2022, but they are only to be used in instances when congregate meal service is limited due to COVID. The next two waivers are specific to the fresh fruit and vegetable program. These are the parent guardian pickup. This allows for SFAs to provide fresh fruit and vegetable foods to parents or guardians of children whose elementary school is closed or who are learning virtually due to a closure. Also, the alternate site waiver. So this allows a state agency to approve SFAs participating in fresh fruit and vegetable to provide those fresh fruit and vegetable foods at sites that are not fresh fruit and vegetable elementary schools if that elementary school that is approved is closed. And these are effective from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023, but once again, only to be utilized in situations where congregate meal service is limited. We also have this next group of waivers that are related to unanticipated school closures. So these unanticipated school closures, these are related to COVID, but when I think about the unanticipated school closures, this is kind of the suite of waivers that we often fall into when we are closing schools for a long period of time related to like a hurricane. So we often find that when an area of the state closes due to a hurricane and schools are not in session, we kind of fall back into using this suite of waivers that are related to closures to help kind of still feed kids when those situations arise. So these, we all hope that we will not need this group of waivers, that we will not have any unanticipated long period of school closures where there's no learning taking place at all, but they're there and just in case we need them. So this will be the same non-congregate meal service, parent guardian meal pickup, the meal service time flexibility. This next one is the service of meals at school sites during unanticipated school closures. So the requirement under the unanticipated school closure regulations is that these meal operations can only occur at non-school sites during unanticipated school closures. But this waiver waives that requirement and allows for summer food service program during these closures to also operate at school sites. These are effective October 1, 2022 through April 30th, 2023. The next waivers are related to CACFP. Once again, the same types of waivers that we've seen previously. These are the non-congregate meal service waiver, parent guardian pickup, meal service time flexibility, and then additionally the on-site monitoring requirements. So this waives the on-site monitoring requirements and allows for monitoring through off-site means. So it doesn't do away with the monitoring requirement, but it does allow if in-person monitoring is not something that is something that should be happening, that we do have the ability to monitor through off-site means. These are effective July 1st through June 2023. These next three waivers are related to school year administration, and these are the local wellness policy triennial assessment. So this provides a new triennial assessment deadline of June 30th, 2023, instead of June 30th, 2022. This waiver is effective through June 30th, 2023, but it should only be used if it truly is needed. So if you need to apply for this waiver, you can, but if you are able to and plan to complete that triennial assessment, you're also encouraged to do so as well. The next waiver, the Food Service Management Company contract duration. So this permits SFAs and summer food service sponsors to extend existing food service management contracts that would not otherwise be eligible for extension. And they can do this through June 30th, 2023. The next waiver is the administrative review on-site requirements. So this excludes the on-site monitoring requirement and allows for monitoring through off-site processes. And these are effective through June 30th, 2023, and should be used only for the extent and duration needed. So we intend to complete our reviews on site this year, if at all possible. But if COVID numbers change, things start looking like it's not best for us to return to on-site reviews, we do have the ability to fall back to utilizing off-site monitoring processes to still complete those reviews. These next two flexibilities are part of this large suite of flexibilities that we have been approved for, but they are not quite related specifically to COVID instances, but more of flexibilities because of the way that we have operated over the last few years. So paid lunch equity, so it waives the paid lunch equity requirement for school year for 22-23. So this pertains to school lunch prices for the entire school year, and also carryover eligibility. So this allows schools that operated seamless summer option this past school year to utilize the most recent free or reduced price determination anytime since school year 19-20 during the first 30 days of the school year 22-23. So this basically, we know that the majority of our kids have not completed meal applications. So you may not have a status on your children from school year 21-22 because they were operating under seamless summer. So this waiver allows for the school system to use any determination since school year 19-20, as long as it's the most recent, to qualify a child for free or reduced price meals. And that is only good for the 30-day carryover. And then a new application, a new determination will need to be made either by application or through direct certification. The transitional standards on milk, whole grain, and sodium. So on February 7th, USDA published the Transitional Standards Final Rule. This rule provides certainty for the next 2 school years, while USDA works collaboratively on permanent standards. So these go into effect July 1st, 2022, and this includes the seamless summer option that are operating in July of 2022. We've had a few memos that we've posted. We also had a training on the transitional standards. If you want to read up on those or watch the video on that training, that may be very helpful. So there are 3 main provisions to these transitional standards. The first is related to flavored milk. So this allows SFAs to offer flavored 1% milk at lunch and breakfast, and also can be used as a beverage for sale for a la carte sales. It requires also that unflavored milk, whether it be fat-free or low fat, be available at each school meal service. It extends the transitional milk requirements to the special milk program and also the child and adult care food program for children 6 years and older. This rule also clarifies that lactose-free milk and reduced lactose milk meet the requirements under both the special milk program and the CACFP program, provides consistency across all of our programs. The second provision is related to whole grains, and this requires that at least 80% of the weekly grain in the National School Lunch and School Breakfast program be whole grain rich. The remaining 20% can be can be enriched grains. And remember, whole grain rich products are those grain products with at least 50% whole grain, and the remaining grains, if any, must be enriched in that particular product. The third provision in this transitional standards is the sodium requirement. So this provision retains sodium target 1 for national school lunch and school breakfast through this next school year of 22-23. After that, it retains the sodium target 1 for school breakfast through school year 23-24. And the provision also institutes a sodium interim target 1A for the National School Lunch Program in school year 23-24. So this next school year, starting July 1, the sodium standards will remain at target 1 for National School Lunch, School Breakfast. Milk, you can begin offering low-fat flavored milk as part of these standards. You must offer an unflavored milk at your meal services, and also all grains offered, 80% of those must be whole grain rich. So that's kind of a summary of the provisions which begin on July 1st. eScholar updates and CEP Manager. So eScholar, the most recent direct match file has been loaded to eScholar. That is the May file. This was ran yesterday, and you should resolve any near matches. The batch numbers are also listed on this slide. The memo was posted yesterday. This is the last file of the 21-22 school year. So you, once you resolve these near matches, you're not going to have any more updates related to SNAP or TANF data. So you should completely be ready for any CEP population data submissions. So we have avoided sending multiple emails to districts asking them to submit their CEP data, knowing that this file was going to be coming very soon. But I assure you that now that this file is available, that you will start being harassed by us. So hopefully we can get this data in quickly so that I can sleep at night and don't have to worry about all of the districts that have not submitted this data. So please, 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 now that this file is available, do what you need to do with the near matches so you can get that CEP data submitted before June 30th. Okay, so just as a reminder, we have moved the CEP worksheet from the Child Nutrition website to the eScholar Direct Match website. Okay, I've had a few calls in the last few days from directors who did not realize this change has happened, and I'm starting to panic that I have not been clear enough that we've made this change. All of the data for CEP is in eScholar Direct Match. SFAs need to ensure that all of their matches, including their manual matches, address matches, are all in eScholar, or you will not get the correct population data. The enrollment and identified students need to be up to date in eScholar. We did have a problem with the non-public data in eScholar, but that has since been corrected. The enhancement is complete. So even the non-publics, you now should have access to your data in eScholar. Please refresh the CEP data screen and you should see those numbers. Please, please, please log on there and look at it. The number of districts who have not refreshed their data and have not gone in and done anything in CEP Manager is making me very, very nervous. So look for your harassment email to begin very, very soon. So checklist of things to do. Please check your schools, your students, your counts. If you see issues, you can email me. You can also email Anantha. Anytime you log on to CEP and you haven't submitted your data, refresh the screen. So this will pull in any additional SNAP matches. It'll pull in those new near matches. And so just make sure that anytime you log into a CEP Manager that you do refresh the data. We've had multiple trainings on CEP Manager. There are also instructions in these trainings on how to manually authorize DSNAP and also how to complete the address matching. The deadline for population data is June 30th. Elections for CEP are going to be due on September 30th, but the population data is due June 30th. So that's all I need right now is the population data, just basically looking over your numbers and submitting that. The actual decisions on whether or not you want to be CEP, we have some time. That is September 30th, so don't panic yet, but the first part does need to be done. There are going to be some new enhancements that are coming for school year 22-23. These are related to file formats that will be allowed to be downloaded from eScholar and then uploaded into your child nutrition software. So we will have DSNAP. So I know this year y'all probably all want to kill me because you've manually had to enter those DSNAP children into eScholar, but we will have a file that will be available. And then also Medicaid free, Medicaid reduced. This is just a teaser on what's coming next, but we will also be having Medicaid free and Medicaid reduced as part of the Medicaid demonstration project. And then we also will have a file for you to download student rosters for address matches as well. Okay, so we've had a lot of people still confused about the TANF file. You should be pulling that file from eScholar and uploading that into your child nutrition software. If you don't see the TANF in your dropdown, then please call your vendor. They can put a plug in so that you have that TANF on your list as well. And we're working with all of your vendors. I call them all the time. I've harassed many of you to get their contact information so that I can harass them as well, but it seems to be working. So we're hoping to have this transition pretty smooth as we move to adding these additional match types. Okay, so for CEP Manager to be successful, child nutrition staff and data managers must work together to ensure that all of the children are, that their data is up to date, the enrolled students and the identified students, that it's up to date. You should resubmit your current students to Unique ID to ensure that your school system has claimed the master record. So we know that often these students move from site to site or from district to district. So being able to make sure that that district which really has that child claims the master record to be able to count those numbers. You should run your direct match for SNAP and TANF. Last file is available as of yesterday. From there, making sure that you did add all your DSNAP children, that you've included any manual authorizations to DC extensions in your food service software, that you've also extended that into eScholar direct match as well. It's very, very important that you look over your CEP data as soon as possible. This will help us make corrections to sites. If there are any updates that need to be made, please don't wait till the last minute. All population data must be submitted by June 30th, 2022. Training updates. So all of our agendas and Zoom registrations are on Louisiana Fit Kids. You will get a follow-up email with your attendance, training hours, and training codes. All of our slides and recorded videos are also available on Louisiana Fit Kids. The only ones that are not available are the ones that I forget to record, but the majority of them are available on Louisiana Fit Kids. Our June training list is pretty small. So it is only 2 trainings, and I messed up the date on one of them. It's Tuesday, June 21st and Thursday, June 23rd. And these are going to be for the Medicaid demonstration projects. It's a repeat on the 23rd from the 21st. So do try to listen to one of those 2. This is really, really exciting. We've been working on this project. I hope that adding Medicaid free and Medicaid reduced to our match types will increase the number of matches we have and hopefully increase even CEP participation. Our next monthly call will be Tuesday, July 5th. This is right after July 4th. You know, I'm sure that we will have kind of a low turnout, totally fine. We'll still have it recorded. But if anybody wants to join me on the 5th, I'll still be here. Save the date. So our in-person obesity conference, which is part of the Understanding Childhood Obesity series. This is going to be Thursday, September 29th at Pennington in Baton Rouge. This is going to be in person. We're also going to have an in-person state update that's planned for Wednesday, September 28th. I don't know about you, but I'm really excited to see people in person again. I feel like we haven't seen everybody in, well, years. So hopefully you can attend and we can finally get to see everybody that we haven't seen in a really long time. We also have virtual manager training coming up, so July 18th through 21st. The registration is open. If you have any of your managers that you think should attend, you should definitely encourage them to participate and register. We've had even a few directors that are fairly new to this field. I encourage even managers and even directors to attend manager training to kind of get a basic understanding of program operations. And just a little plug of SNAL. So the annual conference is next week, June 13th through 15th. It's here in Baton Rouge at the LaBerge Hotel. If you have not registered, I strongly encourage you to do so. This is an opportunity for us to see everybody in person before September. Our staff will be teaching a few different sessions. I myself will not be there, but we have other staff that are going. I will just put a little plug because I'm really excited. I will be adopting my youngest 2 kids on Monday, so we are enjoying this time as a family. So I will not be at SNAL, but I really hope that you all will forgive me for not being able to make it this year. But we'll hopefully see all of you in September, and you can see our new staff member at SNAL as well as some of our other staff members that will be there as well. Other program reminders. Our procurement update, just a reminder that the public bid law that was suspended during COVID that expired, the suspension of the public bid law, it expired on Wednesday, March 16th. So you need to be following all state procurement laws and regulations. We do still have the exception for the state law for procurement of local agricultural products, which support the Farm to School initiative. So just a reminder, I know now we are into June, so this is not new information, but just a reminder that that suspension is no longer extended, and so you will need to be following the procurement standards. Allowable and unallowable expenditures. So Babette has worked very hard to create a document to help SFAs identify allowable and unallowable expenses using child nutrition funds. All expenditures must be necessary and reasonable for proper and efficient administration of the programs and must conform to any limitation or exclusions set forth in the regulations. So memo SFS 22-X135 is an excellent document that helps really identify allowable and unallowable expenditures. If you have not looked at it, print it, keep it handy. This is going to be a really helpful document as we look at our unallowable and allowable expenses in our program. FSMC contracts. So the deadline for charter schools to submit their contract or agreement amendment was June 1st. So that we're after June 1st. So if you have not submitted this yet, you are late. Please submit it as soon as possible. Contracts and amendments will be approved as of the date they are approved by the state agency. All FSMC contracts for 21-22 end on June 30th. So if you are an SFA that's operating the summer food service program during the month of July, meals will not be able to be claimed for days that you don't have an approved FSMC contract. So if you have not submitted that, please don't do so. It's already past the deadline. Health inspection requirements. You are required to enter the date of your health inspections into the CMP system. And there is a block on the claim if that data is not there. So for the March claim, a reminder appeal appears, but for the April claim, you're not able to submit the claim if that reporting criteria is not met. So we are in June. So some of us may still be completing those April claims. And as we get close to the 30-day deadline, I don't want you to miss the 60 calendar day deadline getting in claims because of this requirement. So please make sure that that's in there. If you're still waiting to submit that April claim, please contact us and we can help you get those dates in there if needed. There is a new updated guide to smart snacks in school. So this is a document that we have we basically had for many, many years, but USDA has updated this. And it is designed for anyone who sells foods or drinks to students outside of the National School Lunch Program. So this is whether it be vending machines or concession stands or snack bars. If it's outside of the National School Lunch Program, whether it is a child nutrition program vending machine or the school's vending machine, they still have to meet these criteria. So new updated guidance, not a whole lot has changed, just really updated more than anything. USDA civil rights updates. So we, on May 5th, USDA did issue a memo regarding the prohibition of discrimination based on sex to include gender identity and sexual orientation. This does impact the non-discrimination statement and the Injustice for All posters. We have posted a few memos regarding this. The non-discrimination statement will need to be updated on all documents, pamphlets, websites with the new statement. Websites must be updated within 90 days of that May 5th date. Documents, pamphlets, brochures that have the previous non-discrimination statement must be updated when current supplies run out or no later than September 30th, 2023. Then any new printing must include the new non-discrimination statement. And Justice for All posters, until the new posters are received by us and distributed to y'all, do not remove your previous poster. So do keep that up. And the language, the 2019 Injustice for All posters should be updated on websites, trainings, and any other printing material. And it should be replaced with the appropriate 2022 version. So everything should be updated as made available, and just hold up on the posters. Don't remove those from your walls. And once we are able to provide updated posters, we will do so. Okay, our Medicaid demonstration project, and I've mentioned this a few times. So we are super excited that USDA announced that Louisiana is one of the 8 states that were selected to participate in the expansion of the Medicaid demonstration project to evaluate the impact of Medicaid eligibility data to directly certify students for free and reduced price meals. This will begin basically for the start of the school year, which begins July 1. So hopefully right after the start of the school year, you should start to receive Medicaid free and Medicaid reduced files. They will be separate. So there will be a Medicaid free, Medicaid reduced. We'll go into specifics on how those files will work, and what will feed to CEP and kind of the hierarchy of the different direct certification types. But we are going to add this to our list of benefit programs. So we hopefully will see an increase in directly certified students in this next school year, 22-23, and also hope to see that we will have an increase in CEP participation for next April. We do have a training on June 21st and June 23rd. They are both the same training, so one is not different from the other, but I do hope that you will attend one of them to learn about what's to expect next school year. As a reminder, we did purchase Kidkare by Minute Menu, and this is for all CACFP operators in the state. This will help reduce program operating costs, support agencies and centers who face ongoing staff shortages, and provide contactless record keeping to reduce risk to staff and participants. This software is provided at no cost. Use of this software by SFAs is not required, so it's not mandatory. But we do encourage you to at least listen to the training and decide if you would like to use it or not. Our school nutrition program spotlight for June is Miss Angela Broussard. So Angela is the director of the Diocese of Lafayette Food Nutrition Services. She will be retiring, and we are very sad that she'll be retiring, but know that she will thoroughly enjoy her retirement. And we know that we will probably still see her, just as we have still seen Claire over the last few years. So I'm sure we will still see Angela as well. But we definitely wish her best of luck and thank her for her commitment to child nutrition programs. Okay, so that is it. I have tried to talk efficiently for the last hour. If you have any questions, comments, please put those in the chat box and I will do my best to answer those. You can also contact us at childnutritionprograms@la.gov, or you can call us at 342-9661. Okay, there is a question about the submitting of the continuing education hours. Those will be to the certification office for that ancillary certification. The information will be included in the memo that should be posted a little bit later this week. There's a question about the CEP population data. The process is that the state agency has to accept the data before you can get in and make the CEP elections. All CEP population data that was submitted as of this morning has been approved, so you can go in and start playing with your CEP elections if it was previously submitted. Okay, I'm looking over some of the other questions to see which ones I can answer. Yeah, so the statuses from 2019, 2020 can be used in any situations where you have not received a newer status. Once it's just like, with any other prior status, once a new application is received, that would take precedence, even if it is within those first 30 days. This flexibility was just released by USDA. I do have a call with many of the software programs, and we'll make sure that they can assist with that. It is nationwide, so this flexibility was made for all districts. And so across the entire country, if the state elected to utilize it, so all of the software companies are going to have to make adjustments to accept those previous statuses. There has not been any additional information regarding summer PEBT posted. I would expect something fairly soon, but I'm not quite sure when that will be, but we do know that it will be pretty soon. I'm looking up. Okay, Sister Ann, your question about your CEP, give me a call once we log off and I will see what I can do to help figure out what's going on with that for you. Because you should be able to get in there, but I'll look at it. Just call me once we're finished here. All right, any other questions? All right, if you have any other questions, let us know. I know that our staff look forward to seeing many of you next week at conference. So please, come to Baton Rouge, enjoy yourself. I think the accommodations are wonderful. We will have a large presence of state staff there, as well as doing some presentations. So we look forward to seeing most of you then. And then I will look forward to seeing most of you in September. When the next time that I'll probably see most of you in person. Please join us in a couple of weeks for the Medicaid demonstration training. And if you have any other questions, just let us know. Thank you.